This is Kung Pao Enter the Minute, minute 29, opening frame.
A close-up of the Chosen One finally acknowledging that Woe just said to him...
I'm sorry?
Woe repeats...
You cannot defeat him now.
The Chosen One steadfastly refuses to accept her advice.
I will defeat him.
Woe retorts...
If you can beat him, then you should have no problem beating me.
The Chosen One seems really interested suddenly. After a quick spin around, Woe starts backflipping away, only to quickly move into fighting position after cartwheeling from the side. The Chosen One strikes a pose as they both start playfully progressing through a series of strikes and blocks, ending up with Woe spinning around into the Chosen One's embrace. I hope Ling isn't around to see this. Woe, impressed, states,
Not bad.
as they both stick their tongues out to, not to interrupt here, but my definition of that would be tongue fu. So...
Nice.
Couldn't let that one go.
I'm keeping this in.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Regardless of the outcome, it looks like Tonguey has a lot of fun. As Woe backs away, the Chosen One asks her what is wrong, to which she replies,
The supreme gift.
The Chosen One curiously says, Woe explains,
You must trust the power of the tongue.
The Chosen One curiously says, Woe continues,
But I must warn you.
The Chosen One curiously says, Woe warns,
In the meadow you will find Betty's great protector, Moon Yu. Avoid the meadow.
As we approach the final frame, Woe lets the Chosen One know,
We will meet again, Chosen One. Many more times.
Yeah, this is one of those great bits of dialogue that gets cut off right at the end.
yes. It's not quite like a Ridley Scott film where it's all, minute by minute works very nicely.
We are once again joined by the Ridley Scott expert, Courtney Coulson.
Yes. Thanks, Ridley Scott.
Talking about a movie that's quite decidedly not written, directed, produced, or has anything to do with Ridley Scott.
Yeah, I don't really know why I'm here, frankly.
I know. It's, I just obviously like your input on various boob ninjas.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one in this minute, but
costume expertise, wordplay, and unnecessary scientific research to something that really didn't need it. I'm your person. I'm your man, I'm your guy, I'm your woman. Doesn't really work. I don't know. I'm your human. Yeah. Am I human? I don't even know. Where am I going with this?
You're my resident half robot.
Yes, there we go.
Hang on, so just out of curiosity, is your in-depth research this minute or next?
It is this one. It's about bilateral asymmetry.
Oh, that sounds like a whole lot of words that I should know about, but please do continue.
Yeah, I'll give you the link to the full article, but it's really interesting that one of the reasons why Woe looks so bizarre to us is how unnatural it is, how it goes into the uncanny valley. And that's because of all biological traits, symmetry is one that has a definitive end goal of perfection. Once something is symmetrical, it can no longer be any more symmetrical, whereas an organism could be taller, it could be shorter. What's the ideal height? Who can say? Lots of variables.
So like the idea that how we can scientifically or mathematically predict how someone can be handsome or not based on the symmetry of their face and the golden ratio stuff of gap between nose, eyes, mouth, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and while it isn't the only indicator of physical fitness or attractiveness or anything like that, symmetry is something that we're so trained to respond positively to because biologically, it has a lot of benefits through regarding dexterity, speed, cognitive ability even, and it's also just useful to have spare body parts. So I guess symmetry evolved in the first place probably so that you had some spares. If you lose one eye, well, you got another.
Redundancy.
Well, in the case of breasts, if you have more than one baby, having more than one boob, very useful.
If one tap runs dry.
Yes, exactly.
That was bad.
So, that's exactly what happens. So, in the case of breast, even though mammals can have 6 nipples, halving that into 3 doesn't make sense. It doesn't work, especially on a bipedal body. We were going to get a Deanna Troi with multiple breasts. I don't know how many Gene Roddenberry wanted.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think it was 6 breasts, and, like, it's like, how the hell are you going to make that work? Just how?
Yeah, I loved hearing, what's her name?
Marina Sirtis.
Yeah, Marina Sirtis just talking about, because she's just so direct. She's like, are there going to be big ones up here and then 2 smaller ones? Like, where? It's all in a row? I don't...
She's amazing when she talks about things like that. The Deanna personality just somewhere up in another quadrant, and you just get pure Marina, and she's nothing like the character.
Oh, I wish her character was like Marina, because she's just...
Oh, hell yeah!
Got personality in spades, whereas Deanna's very calm and very patient. I would say that Marina Sirtis is the Carrie Fisher of Star Trek.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you could just kind of... You get the vibe of her when you listen to her too much that she's just... she'll just fucking glass you.
Yeah, I wish they had met those two.
It's a rough and tumble London upbringing.
Oh, yeah. Just imagine her growing up as a little street urchin, Shine your shoes, golf!
Oh, she'd fucking shiv an urchin if she could get away with it. I'm sorry, that's not true. We love you, Marina, if you somehow managed to stumble upon this podcast.
Yeah, I'd be amazed. Yeah, apparently she's a big fan of Kung Fu parodies.
Kung Pao, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, I've actually found Steve Odekirk's Twitter page. I have not got around to messaging it. I've not gathered up the strength, but he hasn't posted since, like, October.
Right, yeah, because sometimes... I see people connected to one of the podcasts I'm doing, one of the movies of the podcast I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, can I contact them? And I've tried, but no one responds.
Yeah, well, I don't know, the crushing defeat of being ignored by my one of my heroes might not be good for my ego strength, but also I just don't think he really goes on that often. Apparently he's making a new he's making a new Thumb Wars movie, so that could be it.
I don't know, a Tongue War sequel as a sequel to that.
Tongue Wars, the sequel to Thumb Wars.
How would I feel if Ridley Scott actually hated me? That would be... I think, you know what? It would be worse if he was indifferent. If Ridley Scott publicly said, fuck you, Courtney Coulson specifically, I would be over the moon. I'd take that
as a badge of honor.
Yeah, like, either he loves my stuff and he's very happy that someone spent the time, or he thinks I'm an absolute lunatic and is terrified of my obsessiveness. Yeah, either way, I'd be so happy with that.
Both is good.
Yeah. I feel like, though, so I'm doing Tron Legacy now, if Jeff Bridges was angry at me, I'd feel really, like, that's my dad getting angry at me.
I'm sorry, I just can't imagine...
Can he get angry? I don't think so.
I know he's gone pissed off in movies, but from all accounts, like, of all the characters he could possibly be in real life, he is the dude.
Yeah, he is the dude, yeah.
And, like, this aggression will not stand, man.
Whereas Bruce Boxleitner as Tron in Uprising, he's just so angry, but I don't think he's like that in real life at all.
No, he seems like a really chill dude, and I did get to meet him, and lovely
Jealous?
person. Yeah, it was back in 2012 when I went to go to Armageddon. I met him got a photo with him with John Goon.
Nice.
So I don't think I've got that photo. He's got it on a wall somewhere. One of the things I do love about this minute is, like, the really dumb martial arts. It's, like, so badly, but intentionally badly, but in a fun way. It's just, there's these two characters playfully, attacking each other. And, it's just simple block, strike, yeah.
It must be fun for a choreographer to do that kind of stuff, because normally it all has to look so real and professional, and now it's just to do some silly shit.
It's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's not, like, really bad, but it's just, like, it's clearly choreographed, but it's
cartoonish.
Yeah, but it's deliberately cartoonish. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the big fight between the Chosen One and Betty. You know, that's where like that fighting is not great. Like not it's because it's not like wushu martial arts, sword fighting or something like that. But it's fine for what it is. It's fun just to see the chemistry between these two characters as well.
Yeah.
And it ends with Tung Fu.
Tung Fu.
I can't believe I didn't think of that joke.
I'm amazed too. I went, surely this is obvious, right?
I tell you what, how can I put this? I was trying not to sensationalize this minute too much. I mean, I did make a couple of gags about staring at Woe's breast, but I do think there's actually a narrative reason for that, and I'll definitely touch upon that in the next minute.
I'm really loving the peak 90s makeup. You got that blue eyeshadow, you got the pale lips. That was the time. And then after that trend was it could be actually the same time, it overlapped there, was the lip liner. So you have this thin line of a darker color around the lips, and then the inside would wear off of the lipstick, and it would just, that was the most trailer trash look.
I honestly have no idea. I really wasn't paying attention to makeup back then.
Or ever. Don't
think I even pay attention to makeup today, except I'm looking at this picture of Woe and I'm going, oh yeah, the blue eyeshadow it actually kind of works.
I mean, it works for her. She's definitely pulling it off. But
oh yeah,
yeah. The earrings. It just needs to be like a leaf shape or something. I was trying to see if there was anything significant, but I don't think there is.
Yeah, it looks like a curvy lightning bolt. I don't know. We're also looking at this on a standard definition DVD rip. So like, you know, when we get the 4K transfer that I've been begging for the last 30 odd episodes, I think we'll start to see those minute details that really pull the costume together.
Oh, it's the cape. I was like, is there a flap down the front there? No, it's just the cape.
Well, that's probably the most impractical part of her costume when you think about it, because I think she even gets wrapped up in it a few times. You can see that in the choreography and
capes are terrible. If you were actually in a combat situation, there's no way in hell. I don't care about Batman if it lets you glide further or whatever. No, you never. It's physics works against you.
Okay, there is legitimate reasons why superheroes had capes. It's all back to luchador Mexican wrestling iconography, which
to hide the booty. To hide the booty.
Man. Yeah, and yeah, same with the underpants as well. No, I like capes as a fashion statement, but not as a crime fighting statement. No capes. Insert the Mona Edgar Mode, Edna Mode drop.
Yes, you got there in the end.
Yeah, God, it's been a long time since I've watched The Incredibles.
When did they come out? The sequel was like
2000 and something.
I think the sequel only came out the year before last. Yeah.
Yeah, which I haven't seen yet. I need to go around to watch it. I've got Disney Plus. Well, I could just do that. Although I've heard it's not as good. So
yeah, it's okay. It's just nice to see a return to those characters.
Yeah. So superhero fashion aside, this does get pretty damn sexual as well. And so yeah, hence why I think I try to desexualize it, at least in my comedic, dramatic reading. Like, I wanted to point out the fact that they're still technically fighting. However, I just love the look on Tungi's face.
He's into it.
Oh yeah, Tungi's into it. Tungi's a little freak.
You know, I just realized this is the only time we have ever seen Tung Fu. You know, it did not exist before this film. It will never be seen again after this film, probably. So take it in, guys.
I'm fairly certain if I go onto YouPorn, I'll see some Tung Fu. But not on mainstream cinema. It is a fun scene, and I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, Woe is so memorable. It's not exploitative. She is a legitimate badass when she's not, like, you know, falling over.
Yeah, it's interesting that even though she has this gratuitous mono boob, she's not that sexualized. They don't do anything with her that's sexist or offensive in any way, as far as I can see.
There is that one POV shot, and as I said, I think I've got an explanation for that, but that's going to have to wait, because that shot's literally in, like, the shot's in the first minute, but I think the explanation works well in the next minute. We also get a great repeating gag of the Chosen One just going, repeated footage, like, again, a repeated joke.
Yes.
This happens a lot.
Rule of threes.
Even though Woe is essentially an exposition machine, because she's really just there to explain to the Chosen One some of the backstory behind, the Supreme Gift, Betty and stuff like that, and literally sets up the confrontation with Moon Yu later on.
And sets up a sequel that never happened.
Well,
I think that's why she looks so
yes.
bizarre, because this is long before all the, Marvel post-credit scenes, but I think what Odekirk really hit the nail on the head with is that gratuitous sequel bait where this character shows up, they don't seem congruous to the rest of the film, they dump exposition, there's no explanation, and they just take off again. Like, she is the perfect embodiment of that trope. She is the Nick Fury of the Tung Pao universe.
The Kung Pao extended universe.
Yeah,
I'm down for that. We need a Ling solo effort.
yeah. Like, who else is in? Who's in our expanded universe there?
Well, let's face it. Who are the surviving characters of
True.
Kung Pao? It's pretty much the Chosen One, Ling, Woe.
Because Master Pain is my guy, but sadly he doesn't make it.
He's dead. Master Tang is dead. Wimplo is dead.
Or hang on, is the Kung Pao universe actually just Odekirk playing different martial art heroes? He just inserts himself into other movies, Enter the Dragon, all that stuff.
I kind of want to see Odekirk, Kung Pao, The Mandalorian.
Yes. I mean, he loves Star Wars, so yeah, why not?
Well, there's Thumb Wars, and he's apparently, rumor was that Kung Pao 2 was going to be based on a Western.
Oh.
Could be The Mandalorian. I don't think Odekirk has enough money for that footage from Disney.
Unless Disney owns him now, we don't know.
Oh, I hope so. Then we can get
Blink
all the Odekirk
twice.
stuff.
If Disney owns you, Odekirk, it's okay.
It's okay. We know you just want the money. I'm kidding. So, no, funny you bring up the whole thing of the sequel baiting and the gag of we'll meet again in the sequel. I was going to bring this up next week, but no, this is perfect. So here's the thing. Of the credited footage for Kung Pao, written, directed, and filmed by Steve Odekirk, there is only one deleted scene. And in that deleted scene, Woe comes back.
Oh.
So this is the footage they actually end up using in the trailer at the end. I was going to talk about this when we get to that rough minute later on, but that's like, probably a year away from now, because it's like the massacre scene. So it's a scene where the Chosen One gets caught by Betty's forces, where he gets the tiny net thrown on him. That was supposed to lead into another scene where the Chosen One's getting tortured by this crazy old man that draws on his face, and like he's connected up to a bicycle that's like shooting electricity into his nipples. It's weird. It's not... Honestly, I'm glad they cut it. It's not really all that good a scene.
Yeah.
It's on the DVD. A lot of that footage ended up being, put into the trailer. So, like, that's one of the only other moments where you get a non-Odekirk English-speaking moment, which is the crazy guy going, what is your tongue, or something like that. I can't remember. That was actually going to be the point where Woe was going to come back, but I don't think that footage ends up in the trailer. And that was actually going to be explicitly where Woe comes back, and I think that was when she was supposed to originally deliver her the, I'll see you next time in the sequel bit. It's clearly a thing that was written for Jennifer Tung to say in, altered dialogue.
I like that her name is Tung.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I was bringing up, is that this is clearly one of those things where the joke had to be this one thing, so that they had a lot of planet to go around it, and any subsequent writing had to be formed around this one scene as well. So, like, they couldn't get Jennifer Tung in to keep constantly re-recording her dialogue.
Speaking of, I wonder what they actually say when they film these scenes.
Well, that's in the What Are They Really Saying audio track on the DVD.
Oh.
Do you have a particular minute you would like to know about?
Oh, I guess this one here.
Do you have a particular bit of dialogue?
Yeah, there's one bit that's really obvious towards the end of this minute. Yeah, let's say about 50 seconds in.
So you're looking for the bit where it says,
In the meadow, you will find Betty's great protector, Moon Yu. Avoid the meadow.
So in the original dialogue...
Get down on your knees so we can get on with this.
So they're just making shit up, or what?
Okay, so when they came to shooting, they had two scripts. They had the script that Odekirk had wrote with the plot, and then they had the alternate dialogue, so that was roughly the same. So it gave a time index, so like, they weren't speaking too long or too short.
Yeah.
And it gave the actors something to emote while saying completely different dialogue.
Right.
So they might be emoting, "You must not go to the meadow," but like...
That's a challenge.
Yeah, as someone who's done this, it's a very interesting way to creatively create dialogue that's mismatched, but it's also kind of a bit mental to do.
Yeah, because I would have thought, and this is what I always assumed it was without really looking at it too closely, was that they just said the dialogue as it's supposed to be, but they just had the audio track way out of sync, because it does still create the same... It looks the same, right?
No, what that's it is, so I think I brought this up before, like, one of my best worst movie experiences was watching a Jackie Chan film where it was clearly shot in English, but for some weird reason they never used the original English dialogue in the audio dub, so people are speaking English and the mouth movements are almost the same, but there's such a disconnect there it's distracting, whereas this one, because the mouth movements are slightly different, but maybe the positionings are somewhat the same, like, the length, the tonality. It works well with the genre of, a translated film. And it just meshes well with the rest of the original Mandarin film. The more you know.
Yeah, I guess it is better if it doesn't match at all. Because if it's slightly close, then your brain's like, oh, but it's almost right. Oh, but it's not.
Apparently critics dinged him for having bad ADR.
What the
like, you're missing the joke, man!
If you're making that kind of criticism, you clearly cannot critique this movie. Jesus Christ.
That's always been an argument where it comes to critiquing comedies, and some movie critiques are just renownedly terrible at critiquing comedy, because some of these people are just humorless bastards. Oh, this movie wasn't the most technically creative piece of media ever made. It's like, it's just a dick and fart joke comedy,
Yeah, not everything's Citizen Kane, man.
Yeah, exactly. And critics took to shreds Weird Al Yankovic's movie UHF, but it got a huge cult following on VHS because it hit an audience that just wanted to have a laugh.
What is that about?
UHF. The TLDR is that it's just an excuse for Weird Al to do weird, funny shit, but the plot is that Al's uncle wins a failing UHF TV station and he gets to run it. And yeah, it's just an excuse to just make weird fucking TV shows like Wheel of Fish.
What is UHF?
UHF itself stands for Ultra High Frequency.
Oh, right.
So you have UHF, VHF, the two other bands that I can't think of off the top of my head. That's how analog TV could be.
So, I think I'll reserve what I got left of my minutes for the next minute.
Yeah, this is a pretty good point to break and continue, so thank you for joining us for this minute, and would you tell the lovely viewers where they can find you?
Find me on traviandesigns.com, Travan, patreon.com/traviandesigns. Also check out our RoboCop Movies by Minute podcast, 60 Seconds to Comply, if you haven't already.
Oh, I forgot to plug that.
That's where you can hear both of us talking about cyborgs and shit, and all my favorite things.
And RoboCop the Second.
And RoboCop Commando, whatever the hell that was.
Alpha Commando.
Alpha Commando, yep, the cartoon, we cover that.
Speaking of magnificent boobs, and RoboCop has them.
Put in that drop from I think it's, what's the pacifier with Vin Diesel with little kids, like, why are your boobs so big? They're not boobs. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I'll put that in right now.
Why are your boobs so big?
They're not boobs.
Do you have to wear a bra?
You're welcome. I don't do many drops in this podcast that aren't, Kung Pao, but,
Yeah, interesting, because it is a comedy one, so you think you'd be doing more. But...
Yeah, I know. I kind of take this a little bit too seriously sometimes. Talking about themes and jokes and joke structure and occasionally mono boobs. And once again, thank you to Courtney Coulson for joining me on this minute. And before we completely sign off, let's go through the audio commentary. In this minute, Steve explains some of the difficulties of working with alternate dialogue.
It's trickier than you'd think, only because from an actor's perspective,
they have to be saying the line as though they're saying the scripted line. But
Exactly.
in reality, you're saying something quite nonsensical compared to it.
Steve later goes on to point out the blatantly obvious Moon You bit.
Well, she's setting up the Great Protector Moon
Moon
You.
you.
Then in retrospect, Moon You, because it's a cow. But nobody subtext.
So this brings us to the "What are they really saying?" segment. And, I love to point these things out. So here's a funny bit of editing where Roy's dialogue is repeated in the same cut. So what this means is because they didn't have to match dialogue and stuff like that, they obviously used 2 different takes with 2 different camera angles of the same dialogue. So when you listen to it without the overdub, this is what it sounds like.
I will now tell you what my favorite breath mint is.
I can't remember what I wrote down here for the audiobook. It just simply says tonguey. So that is it for this week's minutes and this minutes week and something or the other, whatever. We're 29 minutes into this lunacy. You shouldn't expect any sort of semblance and cohesion from this part of the minute, but thank you for hanging around. If you would like to throw me some money, I do have a Patreon, I do have a Ko-Fi, all the links are down below. But more importantly, please like, share, subscribe. This is on YouTube, Simplecast, Apple, Google, Spotify. Just, share and enjoy. We're still in the hangover that is 2021. I hope everyone's safe out there, and until next time, I'll see you again in this sequel next week? I don't know. Bye.